Oh, it is like the normal time. It's like always. Hello, this is not a spring chicken. As you can tell, we are still doing giftings we wrap up because actually we have quite a few to do. But the big news today, well, let's see. Is it because Charlie Sheen now has 1 million people added to Twitter yesterday? Or is it because James Franco is having it, well, let's just say there's some disagreements between him and his school in which he's getting a PhD? Or is it because Congress is finding out repealing portions of health care just make it worse? Well, for now, we're going to bring Oldecam on with comments on the headlines of today. You can sit back there. It looks like the only way to kill Obamacare can't be defunded.
Well, yeah, because it serves that there's kill parts of the Obamacare which nobody had seen before, which basically if you defund a part, it got a kill button on it, which means it makes things worse. So they said every time you take an axe to it, it's sort of like a weed. It comes back 10 times bigger.
Ew.
They found that out this morning when they found out that they understood why the president and Democrats were so willing to go along with getting rid of the 1099 form.
What?
Because then it kicks in with a big tax to make up for the 1099 form not being filled out.
What?
Yeah, isn't that a good one?
What, there's a 1099 form for the healthcare, Obamacare?
Yeah, for every business, if any transaction over $600 you have to fill out a form for, which adds massive amounts. They have to hire
paperwork.
They said they have to hire like about 2,000 or 3,000 IRS agents for the 1099 thing. But what happened is that then just make up for the lack of the 1099 form, which they knew would bring in more money. They just put a tax on you, a general tax across the board, which is higher than all it would cost for the 1099 form. So now, they well, as they said this morning, I didn't know that was in there. I honestly did not know that was in there. So.
Well, you know, that's the problem of having them vote on things they don't read and then filling in the blanks later.
Well, you know that Pelosi and Reid and Obama knew it was in there because they were so cheerfully willing to get rid of that form. Mm-hmm. They need the money to fund Obamacare. That's what they said.
Isn't it all about money?
Yeah.
Yeah. Congressional Democrats are prodding the White House to take a more active stance against Republicans.
Well, yeah, because if you cut the budget, it's going to put 200,000 people out of work. Well, yeah, the people that Obama hired that aren't necessary.
Mm-hmm. And as you can tell, we always forget to tell her on the telephone.
People are calling.
And Obama's proud that he managed to get the U.S. more dependent on Arab oil than before.
Isn't that amazing, Lynn? Because we got to get off of Arab oil. But don't worry. He wants more subsidies for green energy, and another $18 billion to subsidize things that people don't want because...
And they're not using right now.
No, okay. How about $24 a kilowatt subsidy on wind power now? Yeah, and there's no infrastructure. We said, we were the things, folks. It's going to be a decade before this infrastructure will even be started.
Yeah, part of it is you're going, what? Well, yeah, we have attended wind power conferences.
Yeah, and the people at the wind... Now, I see, I lose $1.27 on every dollar that I invest. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Why would I want to invest? Mm-hmm. Well, it's because you're getting $24 a kilowatt from the government to do it. Mm-hmm. So it's the money is from the people that are just... the money is from the people that are suckering people into buying things.
And the Democrats support taking money from those that refuse to invest in our nation's future.
Well, that even pissed off some of the Democrats last night. We have to, you know, the money that these people have is a national resource, and the wealthy and the business, and they have no right to set on it and not invest it in helping our economy grow. And the only way that this is going to work is that we have to seize the money from these people and use it to create jobs in this nation for the benefit of everyone. Except for the people that the money belonged to.
Mm-hmm. Rebels corner fleeing Gaddafi forces after battle.
No, they didn't. That looks good. I also heard them. They also took to the same cities that they said they did it. They took.
Oh, they did?
The Gaddafi forces took them. So.
True polls show the support for the unions are not actually there.
I know that's the flip-flop Obama. It seems that after they rejiggered the thing to take the union members out of it, all of a sudden, they went from 61% approval rating to less than 40% approval rating. The majority of the people do not support the unions. Isn't that amazing, considering their union is only 11% of the population?
Oh.
Yeah, but it took college professors who generally are left wing to unjigger all of the facts that all of these the publications were doing. So isn't that something? If the people on the left are unhappy about your mathematics, you're in trouble.
Yeah, and they're pointing them out because they're part of it is they're all knowing that it doesn't make sense to anybody else.
Well, they did say in the fine print of the polls that at least 20% of the respondents in this poll were union members.
And at least 20%.
At least, yeah.
Yeah, GOP wins early round in budget skirmish and bigger fight looms.
Didn't cut anything. These were cuts that were already decided upon. So that's why they got them. They cut nothing, people. And we're going to try it, we're going to try for BS the Bull. If you get $60 billion in cuts a year, and the deficit is $1.5 trillion, I mean, it's a drop in the bucket. It cuts nothing. The interest is $224 billion.
And Cameron discovers an ethical foreign policy.
Oh yeah, it's basically run with your tail between your legs and save money.
And U.S. efforts to identify the leaders of Libya's revolution and their long-term goals yield no clear answers.
Because they know who's doing it, folks. The same. You flip a coin and you're going to find the Muslim extremists running everything.
Oh, is that what it is?
They don't like Americans, which is what's pissing off the Democrats, because if our president could have got in there and at least put a no-fly zone in, they would have liked us more.
And Obama calls Pakistan assassination a horrific act of violence.
First of all, you don't condemn your military. Okay, let's put it this way. 9 kids were out on a battlefield collecting stuff, and they assumed they were soldiers, because they were heavily armed, so they killed them all.
Are you serious?
And now it turns out that they were kids. Well, I happen to know a guy in Vietnam who's got bullet holes from his knees on up to his head because a little 11-year-old shot him.
Yeah, they can still shoot.
Yeah.
Fox News suspends Newt Gingrich and Rick Santorum contracts.
Well, the next one is Mike Huckabee, because Huckabee's running for president. He'd be going, because he hasn't formed the exploratory committee, he'll stay, but his show is on the chopping block because they got to fire him, because this book he wrote is his basically entrance into the presidential campaign.
Oh, what was his book about?
About how to basically save this country.
Yeah, that is kind of...
Yeah.
John Thune isn't running for president, and who will make the first move?
According to the thing, virtually nobody thinks they can beat Obama.
Are you serious? Who in the world is John Thune?
He's a very popular moderate Republican, but he's from Oklahoma, I think. They're not going to elect an Okie to the office. That isn't going to happen.
Navy pulls commander and 9 others from destroyer over conduct.
Okay. It's called being a sailor, folks. They do that sort of thing. They raise hell, they drink too much, and they carouse a lot. But in this gay Navy, you don't do that.
And Congress takes up a major change in the 1952 patent law.
Yeah, they're going to make it harder for businesses to operate now. Isn't that a good one? Yeah, basically that's from the Senate side, not the Republican side. The Republican side has not got to get through the House. But the Senate wants to make it more difficult for a person to patent anything.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. Yeah, which means if you can't get a patent on stuff, because what happens is people would patent every little bit of something in order to keep somebody from stealing it. Well, they want to make it easier for people to steal things and more difficult for people to register a patent. Because the people out of this country don't pay any attention to our patent laws.
And Supreme Court, anti-gay funeral picketters allowed.
Oh no, one thing Bill O'Reilly is right. They only narrowly looked at the evidence. They the Megyn Kelly. Well, no, you're wrong. This wasn't admissible. It doesn't make any difference whether it was admissible or not. It has to do with right or wrong. The people that wrote the Constitution did not mean it to be interpreted where you could go to a funeral and disrupt a funeral. It's like Oliver Wendell Holmes. You can't yell fire in a theater. You don't go to a funeral and disrupt the funeral. That is not done.
And Charlie Sheen says he wants a raise to return to the show.
Yeah, and he's gonna get it too. He's not gonna return, but he's gonna get the money. He's got a pay-or-play. Okay, those people over at Fox News are outraged. He's got a pay-or-play contract. They got him to work for 2 more seasons by guaranteeing him the money whether he shows up or not, and he knows it.
Winning, Sheen gains Twitter followers and loses kids.
Oh yeah, because he basically, what happened was his ex-wife is holding him up for more money. So that's all that is. I mean, first of all, she used the police department. She has a whole bunch of unsubstantiated threats towards her, so they came and took the kids away based on threats that she said that happened, and nobody. Remember the all of that she said that happened in Colorado, that they dropped the charges on it, give them a misdemeanor public nuisance thing because there was nobody but her that said any of it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And a Monty Bubbleism from the Mark Twain of the Animal Kingdom.
You'll never win if you tell people you can't.